Yo ho ho, Dom Mafia. Welcome to yet another edition of the Dom Mafia Report. And guys, I'm fully aware this is a very ballsy video for me to make. Almost as ballsy as me saying that the Buffalo Bills were about to thrash the San Francisco 49ers. And honestly, when it comes to ballsy videos, I'm batting pretty damn good. I mean, I think I should probably be admitted into the Hall of Fame with some of the dumb, lucky takes that I have been making my entire YouTube career. But it is damn true. I believe it. I believe that Josh Allen entered not only the conversation for MVP once again, but he has joined the likes of some of the elite quarterbacks in the entire NFL. Now, listen, I totally understand that this could come off as a homer take. I want you to bear with me as I go on ahead and explain exactly why I believe so. I'm fully aware that we still need to see him win games when it matters most, and that is the playoffs, but that's a story for another time. This video, I'm going to be taking a deep dive into exactly why I believe Josh Allen is an elite quarterback, and we'll go from there. Before I get into that, I need to shout out some of my most recent Patreon contributors, and that just so happens to be Jack Marental with a $5 a month donation. And so Matthew Showerman with $30.24 for the entire year. Guys, thank you so much. You have no idea how much that additionally helps out my channel. You know the best way to support this channel is simply by smashing the out of that like button. But say that you ever want to go the extra mile, Patreon is how you do it. And I will leave a link in my description just in case I've sparked your curiosity. So yeah, Del Mafia, when it comes to Josh Allen, right? A lot of the narratives that have been surrounding this young quarterback have slowly been starting to die. I mean, legitimately, whoever can say that Josh Allen is not accurate or Josh Allen is trash or whatever other type of negative take you want to say about this kid, people either A, they're salty and they don't want to admit that they were wrong, or number two, they simply don't know dick about football. I'm leaning toward the latter. Now listen, I totally understand. In 2018 and 2019, Josh Allen's statistics were not necessarily eye-opening, right? In 2018, the guy theoretically wasn't even supposed to start. We tried the Nathan Peterman experiment once again, which lasted an entire half of football. And then Josh Allen was essentially thrown into the wolves, not only with a wide receiver core that is comparable to a high school team, but an overall team that was still very much in a rebuild mode. He finished out the year with 52.8% completion rate. Granted, he was injured for a couple of games, and he only ended up playing 12. So there's an argument out there that his completion percentage most likely would have been a bit higher, not astronomical by any means, but much better than 52.8%. Then when you go into 2019, there was clearly a step forward. Obviously, there were still issues within his form. He ended up improving to 58.8% completion rate, but at the end of the day, he was riding the back of a very, very talented Buffalo Bills defense all the way to a 10-6 record and going into the playoffs, which eventually accumulated into probably one of the most heartbreaking losses I've seen in Buffalo Bills history, most specifically because it was in the playoffs. But then something in 2020 completely changed. It was funny because I was scrolling through social media after the 49ers game, and y'all all know that I think that that was the best game that Josh Allen has played in his entire career this past Monday. And I saw this meme, and it showed a picture of Josh Allen when there was only seconds left in that 2019 playoff game against the Houston Texans. And there was a couple of seconds on the clock, and there was a still frame of him just looking disheveled and disappointed. And below the caption read, "This was the very moment that Josh Allen was created." And I cannot agree with whoever the meme artist was during that time. I honestly think that something in Josh Allen's head sparked, and he was just like, you know what? This offseason, I'm going to fix everything that caused us to lose this playoff game. And ladies and gentlemen, he did. Going into this year, I was expecting Josh to make a couple of steps forward. I mean, maybe like a point or two in completion rate, maybe make some better decisions here and there. And so let's talk about a 180 complete turnaround of his game. Ladies and gentlemen, get this, okay? As far as completion percentage is concerned, Josh Allen is number 4 in the entire league with a 69.9% completion rate. Great number, by the way. And so it's funny too, because like, I love when I'm arguing with people in the comment section or just a bunch of random people saying like, oh, dude, like your quarterback's inaccurate, bro. He couldn't hit a broadside of a barn. This kid's the 4th most accurate quarterback in the entire league. And so if stats aren't enough for you to believe that, legitimately, just go and watch some of the tape where he's absolutely dropping dimes while he's on the run. That perfect throw where he threw it over Frank Walker's head this past Monday night, threading the needle. I wouldn't even say threading the needle. I would say being a surgeon. This guy was all over and making tremendous throws, and he has done it time in and time again. Now, don't get me wrong. There's going to be a couple of gaffes. There's going to be a couple of times where he overthrows somebody by a mile. I mean, name one quarterback that doesn't at least have a handful of bad throws. It just happens, especially when you're maybe attempting, a couple of hundred passes each and every single season, maybe even into the thousands. Josh Allen has taken so many steps forward in the accuracy department. It is absolutely incredible. And so on top of that, he's 5th in the league for yards. And so he's 5th in the league for yards per game. And so he's tied 6th for total touchdowns. Now, don't get me wrong. There's been a couple of interceptions. In fact, he's on pace to surpass the amount of interceptions that he threw in 2019. But the one difference that I'm seeing in Josh Allen is just his overall comfortability in the pocket. And so we need to tip our cap off to our offensive line. We need to tip our cap off to Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, who's been having a hell of a year. Josh Allen is surrounded by a quarterback's wet dream. But in my opinion, even if we were to give Josh Allen the 2018 receiver core, I'm almost willing to bet that we'd still be 9-7. Josh just has something in his DNA. He's clutch. You've heard me say this time in and time again. If the Buffalo Bills are down by a score and we have one last possession, I have full confidence that we are going to win that game. The Buffalo Bills should be 10-2 right now. The only reason we're not 10-2 is the fact that we let up some miracle Hail Mary play. It's exactly how it is. When it comes down to it, Josh Allen has been proving his critics wrong. Not only his only career, but especially this year. Good defenses like the San Francisco 49ers, beat them. And so are you going to be able to win in a shootout against Russell Wilson? Sure can. Beat him. Out of all the competition that we have had, Josh Allen has been living up to the hype. And even his bad games have not been that bad. I mean, the Chargers game obviously wasn't his best performance, but it completely made up for it on Monday. And now that our defense is finally showing up and being the defense that we might remember from 2019, watch out. Josh Allen is the leader of this football team. His teammates love him. His statistics are proving it. He has done what nobody thought was possible. He improved his accuracy, which a lot of people said it was impossible for any quarterback to fix that, and he did. And so he spreads the ball around the field like a buffet, and he doesn't cling on to just one receiver like Stephon Diggs or Cole Beasley. He has chemistry with everybody on this damn team, and he's growing tremendously. Ladies and gentlemen, like it or not, Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills is an elite quarterback, and I cannot wait for him to continue to prove so once we get into the postseason. And ladies and gentlemen, this is not a homer take right here. This is not a homer take, but if we see that same Josh for the rest of the damn season into the playoffs that we saw on Monday night, we saw during the Seahawks game, we saw weeks 1 through 4, the Lombardi's coming to Buffalo. And fasten your seatbelts, baby, because we're in for a ride. Dom Mafia, thank you so much for tuning in to yet another edition of the Dom Mafia Report. And above all else, let's go Buffalo.